San Juan Island, a seemingly random spot between Vancouver Island and Washington State, was claimed by both the US and the UK. Already you see that it's not a good sign. After all, as the saying goes, where the eagle soars, the lion snores. The Oregon Treaty of 1846 was supposed to settle the dispute, but it was vague about which channel marked the border. And since both the Yankees and the Brits were salivating toward every inch of land they could claim, a problem arose. Sir, there's a small island on the northwest, and it's not very clear whether it's ours or British. Land? But it's pretty insignificant, plus there aren't a lot of us there anyway. So land or no land? Well, yeah, but the British already have a bunch of sheep and pig farms there. The land, Johnson! But sir, this could start a war! But there's land! Alright, now enter our main character, Lehman Cutler, an American farmer with a serious love for his potatoes. One day, he finds a pig. But not just a pig, a British pig, having a feast in his beloved starchy roots. Now Lehman isn't one to take things lying down, so he does what any self-respecting American would do, fills the pig with love, and by love I mean about half a pound of lead and copper. Now you know how the Brits and their pigs are, so the pig's owner, a British chap named Charles Griffin, is understandably upset. After all, his pig was just shot. Lehman, those Yankees shot your pig. What? Oh, those darn freedom lovers. Who's gonna make me dinner now? No, Lehman, the one you actually loved. No. So he goes to the local authorities, who are also British, and they threaten to arrest Cutler. This is where things start to get out of hand. The Americans are outraged, the British are outraged, there's talk of war over a pig, ships are sent, troops are called, tea is spilled, and all the while, everyone's forgetting about the real victim here, the potatoes. In the end, thankfully, cooler heads prevailed, and war was avoided. Oh, and can you guess who the San Juan Islands were awarded to? Yeah, of course the US, but everyone learned a valuable lesson. Don't take stuff from the Yankees. Next, we have the Nik Riot. So 532 Anno Domini, Constantinople. Things are mostly cool. Emperor Justinian I is ruling and is trying to do his best, but there's one problem. The people really like sports. Chariot racing mostly. They like to watch it so much that it's like their Super Bowl. Every day. There are two opposing groups, blues and greens. They were named after the colors worn by the chariotees in the races. But soon, the inevitable happened, and just like a dad watching the Super Bowl, they got violent. A few of their men were arrested and sentenced to death. So they started a protest. At first, the emperor, just like me after a couple greens and blues, tried to maintain a neutral stance, but eventually Justinian finally understood that something had to be done, so he resolved to put down the rebellion by good old brutal force. After bribing the boys in blue to gain their support, the emperor launched a devastating assault on the remaining hooligans. And when drunk dads rampage ends with maybe some beer spilled, mom with a black eye, and maybe a couple of minor psychological traumas for you, the Nik Riot ended with much more serious consequences. Here, by the end of the attack, some 30,000 members of the mob were killed. The War of the Oaken Bucket. You know how when you've been agitated for a long time, anger is reaching a boiling point inside, and you're just waiting for a simple trigger for you to explode into a violent outburst? Sir, Mother Niece captured some bucket from our well. 32,000 men. No mercy. To be fair, it appears that the bucket wasn't exactly the cause of the war, but I guess it maybe came into picture at some time, giving me full, unquestionable rights to use this in my video. What actually happened is the war was declared because Modena had captured the Bolognese castle, so about 32,000 men were sent to fight. Next, the Pastry War. It happened in 1838 in Mexico City, so here's Monsieur Montel. He's a French pastry chef in Mexico City, and he's doing alright until a few Mexican officers did some tomfoolery in his store. I don't know exactly what, because according to this Wikipedia article, different sources have different claims. Anyway, so he, not wanting to put up with this crap, asks Mexican government for 600,000 pesos. The government basically says, go suck a toad, and turns him down. The guy is still mad of what happened to his restaurant, so he complains to the French government. You know the game broken telephone, right? Yeah, so by a similar principle, his complaint gets greatly exaggerated and France starts a war that took about a year until Big Daddy UK had to step in and say, Oh, how unsophisticated. Starting a war over such an insignificant matter. Tells them both to get a grip and ends the war. The War of the Stray Dog. So picture this. It's October 18th, 1925. A Greek soldier is just hanging out, doing this thing at the Demirkapia Pass near the border town of Petrich, Bulgaria. Suddenly, his dog decides to yeet himself over the border into Bulgaria. Now, this soldier, being a good pet owner, goes after his dog. But, uh-oh, the border is guarded by Bulgarian sentries and one of them shoots the Greek soldier. This starts a whole international incident, sometimes referred to as the War of the Stray Dog. Greece and Bulgaria, already not the best of friends due to territorial disputes and ethnic tensions, get into military confrontation. But it ended after the League of Nations gave them a slap on the wrist and told them to cut it. Cod Wars. So the Cod Wars were a series of confrontations between the UK and Iceland over fishing rights in the North Atlantic. And this wasn't just a one-time thing, it happened in 3 stages over 20 years. The whole thing started when Iceland decided to expand its territorial waters, first from 3 to 4 nautical miles, and then to 12 nautical miles. The UK said, "Bought me fish and chips, mate." They weren't too happy about this and sent their fishing boats escorted by the Royal Navy. So obviously things got pretty heated with ships from both sides just ramming into each other. But in the end, for some freaking reason, Iceland won a navy battle against the Royal Navy. Well, it wasn't a full-on battle. Again, they mostly just sort of crammed into each other a bunch. And again, I'm too lazy to do any proper research whatsoever. So the United Kingdom had to agree to a 200 nautical mile zone around Iceland's shores where only Icelandic ships could fish. Apparently, there was also the War of the Jenkins Ear between Britain and Spain in 1739, but I didn't find any concrete information of there being an actual ear involved, so I guess I'm just gonna end the video here. Bye bye!